God, in a sense, has so much to give, and we're all walking around with our bowls upside down. We can't catch the rain of His love. It flows to the outside. The Japanese have a saying that Americans are so good about helping and giving, but Americans have a very hard time receiving and letting themselves be given to. And so if you look at your two hands or the breath, what if you only breathed out all the time? How long would you live? So there's a giving and receiving of love for it to work, you know. If you need two wings for the bird to fly, you need to breathe in and out. If you look at your arms, some cultures say that the left hand is the taking hand and the right hand is the giving hand, and some say the other way around. But either way, there's a circle. If you hold out your arms, and there's the circle of giving and receiving, it passes straight through your chest and right across your heart. So mix your heart, your love, with your giving and receiving. And we really need to learn that. So oftentimes, learn to be vulnerable, learn to be yin, learn to be feminine, learn to receive, and and then learn to give. So both. How's that? Both and more. It's never either or. It's always both and more.
Well, and that's awesome, and agreed completely. You kind of segued into another question I have, and maybe if you could expound on it, I think you've answered it. There is a common place that we feel love, that we receive and transmit love, and that is the heart area of our person, isn't it?
Yes, and it's beautifully designed. The deeper you go down the rabbit hole, or the deeper you travel the final frontier, which is not outer space, but the final frontier is inner space. The deeper you travel at all is just so perfectly made. I mean, you can see when you hug someone, your giving and receiving hand, that circle, travels through your heart. Physically. It's not some metaphor. It's physical electromagnetic energy, you know. And one of the exercises I do on our retreat, Sanctuary for Souls, I call it. We're doing one in Sedona over New Year's, by the way, a 4-day one. And I do them on all our trips when we go visit the animals, swim with the manatees and the dolphins, and walk with the horses. Maybe it'd be fun to swim with the horses sometime. That'd be fun. But
I'm there.
We do Sanctuary. One of the exercises we do, and it's meant to be natural. All you have to do is watch a little child love you. It will melt you. You will feel like, I can't handle it. Stop it. That little 3-year-old can completely undo you by giving you love. I'll tell you a little story. There was a little boy, he's 5 years old, and his neighbor, who's 79, his wife had just passed away, and he's sitting on the porch, and they're sort of friends, and the boy is 5 years old, and his mother comes by and sees her little boy sitting in this man's lap. He's just sitting there, and the old man is crying. And she just watches it, and then later she asks the little boy, "What were you doing with Mr. Henderson?" And he says, "What were you telling him?" she asked. And the little boy says, "I didn't tell him anything. I just helped him cry." I just holding space for him. I just helped him cry. You know, and I forgot the topic, but I like the story, so there you go.
That's beautiful.
Perfect.
It was. Well, no, and again, it's expanding what is the power of love. I have several questions, but the next one that comes up out of what you just said is love a force that you think that someday we'll be able to measure, Tobias?
Yes. And I want to tell another story because we love stories. This is a personal story of mine. One day here in Sedona, in fact, I was just out there today. It's a little place called, close to Coffee Pot in Sedona, but there's a mountain in front of it. I forget the trail's name right now. But I was walking on this trail, and I noticed, and as I was coming back, there was a dog, and she's about 100 yards away from me, and I can feel the dog and the owner, and I can feel it's a girl and it's an older dog. And I just tune into her, and I just feel love for her. like I send it. I actually like send it like you're sending love to the dog. I was doing an experiment. I was going, wonder if she'll pick up on it. And she waited for me. I walked up, and the owner looks at me and goes, this was the confirmation the universe does this, and says, I don't know why she wanted, but she had to see you. And I don't know why, because she's kind of, she's old. And he said she doesn't really like to meet new people a lot, but she insisted, even though I asked her to come, we had to go home, she wanted to stay and meet you. And I did that 100 yards away. And the dog wanted to meet me because she could feel my love being sent to her. And so it's an actual physical force. And it's an actual physical energy force. And in our exercise we do in Sanctuary, I call it my cup runneth over. We actually do this. We practice it, and we see the effect it has. That spot that the dog was standing on, by the way, the previous week during a walk, I had thought I was giving love to people, and they had turned and attacked me, or they had felt angry at me, and I was asking God's Spirit about, show me the mechanics, because there's actual spiritual physics to this. Show me what I did, and God showed me, you sent love into a person that did not want to receive love. And when you do that, in a sense, you're trespassing, but you were wanting to make them feel the love, and they got angry back at you because they didn't want to feel it. And it was on that exact spot that the dog taught me about how to do it without you send it, you offer it, but you don't force it. And the dog taught me that lesson on the exact same spot that I had asked the question a week earlier.
Wow, very powerful.
Awesome. Yeah. It is, and just another example that it is real and that it does work. You mentioned something in the last segment, I believe it was, when we touched upon good sex, and that whole gambit game we're talking about, rules. And it just seems that we rebellious bunch just the hair on the back of our necks, and we just immediately jump up to fight when somebody mentions rules. Aren't those just the constraints that we can operate within safely and really have a lot of room for exploring and growing and learning?
I would say so. There are boxes, again, the Russian nesting dolls. There's times when we need rules, and sometimes, and then they become a prison, and then you expand to the next situation, and eventually the whole of the law is love. The whole of the law is love, and you need no laws. But until you are totally infused, and your lust has become love. By the way, I was going to say, I love my lust. I love my lust. Great bumper sticker. Well, yeah. I love my lust. Because it's meant to be.
It's always been a part of us.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I was going to say, it's always been a part of us. It's just directing it to positive use instead of destructive use is all we can do, isn't it?
Include it. Without lust, we wouldn't be here. Hello, it's sort of like we need to include at the round table our emotions, our intellect, our spirit, our lust, our body. Everyone has an equal say and an equal value. And anytime we devalue parts of ourselves, they become twisted children. So with lust, we have had a tendency to create twisted. Imagine a child that was born to you and you kept them locked in the basement. That's going to be one twisted child. Well, that's what we've done to our lust. We've made it wrong. So of course it's going to act out and get conniving and do stuff behind closed doors and secret affairs and pornography and By the way, nothing wrong with pornography. Embrace it. Embrace it and erase it. I always tell people, absolutely, go do that. But when your lust shows up, it can begin with lust or love. Doesn't matter. If it begins with love with someone, add lust to it. If it begins with lust with someone, add love to it.
Okay, so bring it together and feel it both. So then that brings us to the very first question of the show. What is love?
Yeah. Well, that's like defining God, God is love is one definition. God is love, so love is God, But love is good. Love is the space we give each other. Love is space. You give someone absolute freedom to be who they are. Space, permission, allowance. Love is not, you owe me, I own you. You have to give this to me. We have a contract. Love does not make contract. Love does not make contract. Love may make promises, but it doesn't make contract.
Yeah, this brings me back to the intro, talking about love and all the highs and lows and ups and downs. And, when you fall in love, it feels so great. And, are we falling in love? Because that implies going down. Or are we being lifted in love?
Maybe both experiences occur. We can fall in love, and I would suggest that the mixed love is falling into love, and then there is ascending love too. There is, I like that, rising in love. We should, and the language betrays us or shows us or exposes us to it, absolutely. But not to avoid it, go ahead and fall in love, but try to be conscious as you're falling and, see what's going on. You can't avoid it. You cannot meditate it away. You can't do it. You can't go, I've had enough of men, they're all a bunch of pigs, I'll never be with another one. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I think that's part of the limitations we impose. Oh, we're not going to fall in love because, that's beneath us, and we're going to lose our individuality. And then, of course, these preconceived notions of, or this box that we were told love is. It's no wonder people shy away.
Once bitten, twice shy, baby. Thank you. Who's that? I forget their name. But so go ahead and do it. Follow a teacher that is into, if you do not feel the humanness of it, if you abandon your humanness, it becomes a ball and chain around you. There are stories of yogis who literally learned how to, leave their bodies consciously. They rose above it. Oh, we want to rise above it. But that turns into we rise above our humanness and we abandon our humanness. Well, how would you feel if someone you loved said, well, I'm better than you now and I'm just going to leave you behind and never talk to you again? That's pretty rejecting, and we cannot reject parts of ourselves. It's like a wolf biting his paw off in a trap. Yes, he can hobble away, but he's not a complete wolf. And we have bitten parts of ourselves. We abandon soul fragments of ourselves in our sexuality, in our lust, in our emotions, in our rage, in all the things you have judged as less than beautiful or less than godly. God says, wait, don't be so quick. Please go back there and recover that lost part. Turn back, and that's the story of the one lost sheep being recovered. It doesn't make sense otherwise. Why would you leave the whole flock? It's a strange one. But the point is, we cannot abandon any part of ourselves and hope to remain whole. And the proof is in the pudding. When you can walk on water and when you can transform your body into pure light, you're doing it, okay? And if you can't do it, you got some work to do.
You need more loving.
You need more loving.
Tobias, we have a few more callers on the line. Our next call tonight is area code 580. Welcome to the show.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
This is Carl McBrayer from Atoka.
Hi, Carl. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing fine, honey. I'm going round and round with the old IRS. I may have to go to prison or jail or something over all this crap, but I'm going to drag them out in the daylight as I go down. So I just want you guys to know that, and I'll keep you abreast of what's going on. Tobias, how old are you?
I am eternal.
Well, the reason I asked, 69 years old, and I was raised by the old school, more of a common sense upbringing than the schooled people were. Back in the old days, in the 40s and 50s, you could look at a family and you could actually tell by the children whose mothers and fathers were actually in love with each other.